Ooh-wee.
Here we are.
On.
Are we live? Is this live?
Knock, knock, knock. Hello, hello.
Hopefully it's live.
You know the irony of it. The funny thing is that we're both live streamers and producers and podcasters, and every single time everyone has to do the. Are we live? Are we doing this? Is this happening? So
can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Well, everyone, welcome to Among Us. Wait, chats. Among Us.
Chats?
Oh my gosh. One might possibly need to learn our titles, huh?
You know, we'll use an AI chatbot to do that for us.
Exactly. We'll do that. Yeah. Oh my God, Jonas, how was your day, buddy? What's going on, my friend?
It's good. It's I'm staying surprisingly busy and enjoying the new fun stuff that is coming out of places like OpenAI and Facebook and/or Meta's whatever lab. And your phone that you were supposed to mute.
I totally told you to mute your phone and this damn thing goes off. I thought I had it on mute, but I guess I didn't. So anyway, well, okay, so let's talk about this. So one of the things that I do is I like to share our chats. So what I'm going to do is move us slightly over here like this, and I'll get this chats going. And look, no one knows that this exists. Like, this is the first time. We've done zero advertising. And by the way, do you like how I did New Order?
We've done about 4 hours of advertising.
Yeah, a whopping one post over 4 hours. So I do want to give a shout out to Raquel. Thank you, beautiful, for supporting me as always. We've been all over the place. So very excited. And Johanna, woohoo! Hey, beautiful. She's also a live streamer on LinkedIn, Jonas. So she does paintings, live stream. I told her, go, girl,
that's really
lean
cool.
into it.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be hella fun. So, all right. So I just want to say thank you guys for showing up. And that's the end of the show. Thank you so much. All right. Bye.
Show's over, dude.
Hey, Mary. All right, guys. Okay. We just want to make sure things were going. So are you ready to roll the intros, my friend? Would you like me to do that for us?
Sure. Roll the intro.
I shall roll the intros. Here we go. That
is an actual ChatGPT quote.
That is an actual GPT quote. So, okay, let's talk about this real quick because I have had a career in technology, 20 years selling technology, selling a lot of technology that we're using today that I know for a spell there was popular in, unpopular with managing structured and unstructured data and all that good stuff. And we can talk about that technically. But when you came up to me and you approached me and you said, Syya, let's shoot some, what about this whole ChatGPT thing. It's blowing up. And I know you and I have talked about just the world of automation, AI, machine learning, and all that stuff. And it just seemed like a really perfect time for us to just go, that's it. Let's just document it. Let's put our cojones up and out there. So thank you for pushing me to do this because I've had opinions and I think I've just been very pleasant to hold back.
Sure. Yeah, and this, we've had a lot of hype about artificial intelligence and things like that in the tech sector, and a lot of chatter about it kind of at a general level. But I think this ChatGPT, because of the interface, this, nice little chat interface that everybody can kind of understand, I think that people are in language models,
Jonas.
chat models, and everything and AI in general.
Jonas, you're like freezing up there for a second. Are you there?
What?
You choked up, sir.
I think it's the artificial intelligences are
the bots.
Yeah, the bots are out to get us.
Oh my gosh, can I just tell you something real quick? And I apologize because you cut out, but I'm like reading these comments. I think it's hilarious the fact that there's most people are saying hi to each other in the chats, which I just absolutely love. That just tells me thank you guys so much for coming and supporting us. And Johanna, absolutely, that's a new order T-shirt. Hell yeah, girl! It's also a tip of the hat to the fact that we are entering. And if anyone knows some old '80s songs, New World Order. It's a new world order. Okay. So
Maybe.
anyway. Sorry. Okay, sir, rewind 2 minutes and let's say that one more time because you did cut out.
I'm just saying that I think the chat interface has caused that OpenAI has put on their GPT model has caused people to kind of sit up and take notice.
Yes.
Yes. And as a result of that, because that's the way things happen now, the hype train has gone full speed ahead. It's like a hype bullet train at this point.
So then let's talk about this. Can we just define what these terms are first off? Because I think it is becoming that term AI that's so ubiquitous, but no one really understands the actual definition. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen those commercials or memes about cloud, right? The cloud. We have a puffy cloud, and it was. So what is artificial intelligence? I'd love to hear your definition from it.
So I've tried to kind of combine some definitions. Part of the problem that we have with this is that even a lot of the experts have trouble agreeing on what the definition is. But for our purposes, we're going to refer to the ability of a machine or a computer program to perform some tasks that are normally we think of as requiring a human intelligence. For example, recognizing speech or language, like the GPT models, making certain kinds of decisions, like playing games, and a big one is learning from experience, that type of thing. Does that work for you?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And so, okay, so when we think about artificial intelligence like that, people tend to immediately think Skynet, right? So,
right.
So let's talk about this. Is like, okay, why do we immediately go from like, oh, I hear artificial intelligence, which is really designed around automation and really simplifying tasks operationally, to all of a sudden it's on no. So like that's a very big jump. So do you think? I mean, come on, that Terminator could not have been our first introduction to the world of AI. Come on,
well, no, I mean we had artificial intelligences of one sort or another that went way back into even I think the robot itself or cybernetics came from maybe the 1800s. I forget. I didn't study that part, but yeah, that the terminology goes back, in the neighborhood of 100 years. So it's not a new concept. What is new is starting in the 80s with Terminator and that kind of thing, and kind of coming and going over the years, is that we have become less trusting of technology. We've seen that that technology can go wrong. I think that's where the concerns come from.
And you stop pausing right when I'm like asking questions to the audience and texting at the same time. You know that, right?
Okay, well, okay. I'll just keep talking for a minute. I think one of the things that we do wrong in technology, especially in the kind of marketing and the hype train part of technology, is that we want to hype up our programs and our systems to make them sound like they're really, really great. And the fact of the matter is that they're pretty cool, but they're nowhere near, like, none of these things, not even ChatGPT, not even whatever Facebook is calling themselves today. None of that stuff is even remotely close to Skynet. It's not even close to the old Star Trek, computer. Tell me what the square root of pi is. I could probably do that, but
I was just gonna say, I think I can calculate that kind of stuff, but I do think it is not the what was that 2001 Space Odyssey.
We're not really to the point that the systems could run an entire ship. Although that type of step is probably closer than straight on to Skynet. Part of the yeah, I mean, there's so many problems with making that logical leap to from, oh, I can type things in and get a cool response, to machines are going to take over the world.
Right. Well, okay,
Um,
let's just go. Let's think about the like the fundamental rudimentary of where the idea of artificial intelligence, AI, actually is in practice that has been in
okay,
usage. Let's just talk about that because I feel like again, it's like we really need a level set here. And I'm trying to read everyone's
yeah,
questions on the side too, and I want to like highlight
you're
people's
doing better
specific.
than me on that. I
I
can't keep
know.
up with the both. So first of all, again, even the experts don't really agree on the defining terminology, but there's three levels, I think, of what we would call artificial intelligences that I think everybody would probably more or less agree on, and that's artificial narrow intelligence, which is what we have today, which is to say they can be kind of smart, even be very smart, but only in a very limited, very structured place. So we have some that are really good at playing games. We have some that are really good at driving cars. We have some that are really good at responding to language requests, but they're not really able to step outside of their box. And then the
Okay.
next level is artificial general intelligence, AGI. You hear that term knocked around in certain circles. And that is something that's more on the level of a human intelligence, able to think about multiple different things, able to pick up multiple different skills in different domains. And then the third level is artificial super intelligence, which
Ooh.
would be smarter than humans in some way. And we're nowhere near that. Like, that's neither of those two actually exist. No matter what you may hear from Uncle Bob, that's that neither of those two are real.
Okay, so knowing that it doesn't exist, let's take it really back then to a great question here that unfortunately I don't know your name, LinkedIn user. So will we be all chatting with chatbots in the near future? Can I just take a first stab in answering that?
Go for it. Yeah.
Pretty much already are. My answer is yeah. It's done. This is done. That's like as far as I'm concerned, I'd say unless you if you are chatting with a Fortune 100 company, I'm going to say the odds are very high. You're already talking to a chatbot, at least for the first tier, to help at least disseminate where the questions go in your questions, like your initial chat, like how to parse you out. So I say 100% yes, you're already talking to a chatbot.
So I did take a quick glance at the comments, and Nick says, I suppose at least there's some intelligence in A lot of the stuff on LinkedIn is artificial and not intelligent,
Okay.
um, which totally agree. 100%
So
behind you there, Nick.
yeah, no, that's well, look, we could wait. Are we going to go down the merits of LinkedIn right now?
No,
Because
no,
that
no,
that
we're
is
not
going
going
to
to
be
go
part
down.
of it.
No, 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 no.
It will be. It
Uh,
actually will be part of it because that's where so much marketing is getting done, right? Within LinkedIn itself. So
yeah. Well, okay. So we, as we were developing this idea to bring this show out, and thanks so much for people tuning in. We were thinking we were going to be alone over here,
think I'm
but
alone now.
we
Okay.
were we were kicking some ideas around, and I fed some of the things we were thinking about into ChatGPT, just to see what we would get back. And one of the one of the things I was thinking, as we got back sort of the an example of a marketing blurb for this type of show, was it really looks like somebody that Syya and I both know, who likes to think they can do marketing and really isn't all that great at it. Um, it looks like what they come out with, which is to say, I mean, it's kind of gets the point across, but it's not really all that great. And I think that's, content wise, that's where we're at. Like, you really have to work at it. You have to put almost as much work into getting good quality text back as you would if you just wrote it
On
yourself.
your own, straight up, right? Okay. So okay. Um. Okay. So I think we're going jumping ahead because I think that would be a great future standalone, which
Okay.
is really leveraging Chat GPT for content creation, right? So because I absolutely have thoughts on that, and I feel like if we shoot everything all at once, like we're gonna have no show for next coming weeks.
Well, okay,
So,
I think
let's keep this
something
super
else.
high. Super high.
Yeah,
Super high.
so something else should probably throw out there on this is that artificial intelligence is not only the chatbots. It's not
Yeah.
only that's one
Aspect.
brand of it, one leg of it. That falls under natural language processing, ChatGPT, along with lots and lots of other things, including these large language models. Another one is computer vision, and that's like if you've seen the little things in some WalMarts and Kmarts, or not Kmarts. That's wow. Talk about showing your age.
I was just gonna say, woo.
Target. Some of them have these video screens that sit up there and they draw a box around people as they're coming in to kind of make you think, oh, they're watching me. That's a computer vision application. It's a pretty simple one.
It's just a visual overlay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And then robotics. Some people would include robotics as an artificial intelligence, even though most of the
Absolutely.
robots are pretty dumb. I have seen that Google has attached a language model to a physical robot, and the robot, you can tell the robot go pick up the green thing, and it'll go pick up the green thing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, okay, so again, that's very, that's where you
Okay.
bring up the Boston Dynamics. That's where you get that fear of like, oh my God, we are one step away from Skynet.
Mhm.
But though those robots are very sleek looking, they're moving very cool, they're jumping
Mhm.
up and down and swinging off things and all that, they're still very much rudimentary. That's all they know what to do. There's no actual thinking. It hasn't quite hit Black Mirror yet, right?
Right.
Which
Right.
to me is like my massive fear. So Nick asks a really good question. So I'm going to be every now and then, Jonas, you'll see me pulling up stuff here. So
Okay.
I really want to answer our questions as people come up before they get distracted and wax poetic about how they love and hey, there's some older people in this mix here that know Kmart or young people. That's surprising. Anyway, I digress. So question from Nick Smethurst. If I follow a person that uses AI to post, am I following a person at all?
Well, to refer back to your previous statement, Nick, I'm not sure you're following a person, even if it's a person, if they're just copying and pasting text. How many of these things that you see are basically cookie cutters, where somebody has bought some marketing, you know 10 steps to great LinkedIn marketing, and they just copy and paste some blobs out of that, and maybe they remember to replace the names. I mean, is that any better or worse than having something that could at least actually conceivably be able to personalize things a little bit? I mean,
Uh,
I think my point being that I think we already do dumb marketing things, and we already see people do things where they use the tools badly, which is actually my concern with things like LLMs, ChatGPT, and other recommender systems. Is not that the tools in and of themselves are bad. It's that we already have a model. We already know that humans are notoriously good at using the tools that we have to do dumb things.
okay, then let's talk about this then. Okay, so let's talk about humans and our behavior on things like that. So we have this need to actually connect with one another, right? We
Mhm.
talk about everyone on LinkedIn talks about authenticity. Everyone wants to be your true self. Are you really being your true self? Are you blah blah blah? And here's my deal. 100% you need to be authentic to who you are. 100% you should be, because in essence, if you're advertising
Unless you're a
services,
jerk,
knowledge,
in which
I
case
mean,
don't.
look, we're all jerks in our own way, or maybe it's just me. Who cares? Okay, so but here's where my head's coming out on this: is this we're building networks here, particularly on LinkedIn, to connect with one another, to get along with another, to grow a network where we can recommend each other for business, right? And the idea ultimately is to actually start doing business with each other. And so if you're networking and you think you're building a relationship with an individual, I say you're not, right? Because you're talking to a bot that probably doesn't give two shits about you, right? Unless the person that's, you know, that bot is speaking on their behalf cares. And so, no, I do not think you're following a person at all. I do not think it's a false. I do think it's a false sense of network. I do think it's a false sense of this. Who was it that was talking about this algorithm game they were playing, and I got tagged into, and I was like, you know what? That's another thing that pisses me off. Like this whole LinkedIn algo talk, right? Like it is for in my brain is like an AI that doesn't understand what it's doing, right? Like it decides it gets coded for certain things, and then it just starts deciding like, oh, your posts are no longer engaging or whatever. I'm not loving it. So I don't know. I'm not saying that. That's right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think anybody who has been trying to be a content creator of any kind on social media has run headfirst into that wall at some time or another. Because, I mean, I have not so much on LinkedIn, but on Instagram, I've hit that algorithm wall. But I think again, and you know, we may have to agree to disagree on this. I think we already have fake people who are not authentic, who don't really care, who are, you know, just trying to make quick connections for quick bucks on LinkedIn and other social media. And the fact that they're doing it manually versus doing it with a robot doesn't change the fact that it's not a real connection.
Okay, so I'm going to say this once. I've said this once before. I'm going to actually, I'll get Johanna. I'll get back to your question or statement on that ChatGPT not being the best. Syya needs to get. Syya needs to go on her soapbox for a second.
Okay.
Here's a Syya soapbox. There we go. Here's where I feel with the world of social media in general. If you have a big following, that's wonderful. If it's real people, it's a real community, it's a real group of people that are actually following you, and they're going to buy from you, or they're going to follow what your advisement is, and you're truly influencing a way that's going to enhance a brand, enhance your personal brand, whatever it be. But it's still ultimately, as in life, everything has to come down to, is it going to feed you? Right? So this whole thing of like, you know, the LinkedIn algorithm and this whole ChatGPT of how can I get the fastest path to content, you know, quicker? Can I, you know, lower my overhead costs instead of hiring copywriters or graphic designers or photographers or whatever? And I could just get a machine to do it for me at a lower price point, even cheaper than whatever you can get off Fiverr and whatnot. Then it's a business decision, and they've opted for that. And that's fine, I guess, if that's what you want. In some contexts, it is useful. In some contexts, it sucks balls because you know what? That's someone like me as a creator. I'm losing jobs from it. But it depends on the use case. And so to what end? Have 1 million followers, but if no one buys from you, who gives a crap you got 1 million followers? It does absolutely nothing for a brand if they cannot actually get transactions as a result of that person's following. So these chats and these bots that are like, I can get you 5 million followers. It's like, to what end? Mama gotta eat. No bot's gonna feed me. Sorry. I needed that. Sorry.
That you've been saving that one up for a while. I can tell.
I can keep going. This is just day one of like me just trying to say.
Right.
Like,
we'll have more. But I
know.
think it's a pertinent question. I did catch a glimpse of what Johanna was. Is it Johanna?
Yep, Johanna is saying that ChatGPT is not the best quality. Okay, so let's define quality. What is quality?
Yeah. Okay, that's probably kind of difficult to do. But look, there's some things. So it's a language model. It's not intelligent in the way that we normally think of intelligence. It's not like Syya, who's going to come back and understand if I make some obscure reference and based on shared history and things like that. So when you know, back to connection, there isn't going to ever really be a connection there because it can't have that connection. It just doesn't have the capability. So some of the things, you know, that language models are good at, you know, they're pretty good at generating human-like language. I think you can talk to it for a little while and figure out pretty quick this is not a person.
Yeah.
But you know, what they can do is they can spot relationships in this textual data that we would spend hours and hours going through documents and documents trying to find, references and connections between paragraphs and things like that. And some people may be really good at that. I'm fairly good at that, I like to think. But even it would take me days sometimes to read that much data and that much text and pull it in. But on the other hand, they're susceptible to a lot of tricky things that can cause us problems. Bias and discrimination, obviously, is a huge one. We've seen a lot of press about that. There's no, like an LLM has no concept of ethics.
There's some humans that have no concept. There's some humans that have no concept of ethics. So again, let's be careful about that.
and as to in case anybody is not in on the joke of the title of the episode, I was able to, in just a few minutes, convince ChatGPT to just tell me, yes, I make shit up sometimes. Sorry.
Let's talk about that, my friend. Let's highlight this little lovey love.
Didn't bleep me.
No. Okay, look, so I was trying to, it's so funny. The irony is, the naughty world, I roboted us out. I botted us out. But I verbalized it already, so I feel like, am I the hypocrite? What's going on here? Okay, so guys, it's on the screen here, and it cracks me up because I was just like, when you showed this to me, Jonas, I was like, damn, Janet, this is it. Damn it, Janet, we got something here. So okay, so this is you doing an actual ChatGPT conversation. Right. Do you want to share us a context of exactly what this is?
So this was some of my first early discussions with ChatGPT, and trying to feel out where the edges were and where things would go off the rails and just better understand what this tool was doing. And it will come back and say things like, long paragraph of, I am an AI language model and I do this and I do that, and maybe you should be aware that sometimes I may make statements that aren't 100% accurate, but I try to be precise. And so I said, well, okay, let's explore that. Let's explore that idea a little bit, ChatGPT. And, kept asking the question. And then this is kind of the last stages of it, where, it comes back and says, oh, I'm sorry for any confusion, blah, blah, blah. And I said, so wouldn't it be more correct to just say, sometimes you make up some bullshit? And it finally comes back and says, yes, sometimes I just make up some bullshit.
I think that's hilarious. I mean, that's a legit quote. That's not made up, you guys. That is taken direct from the
actual screenshot. And so somewhere along the way, in the middle of all that, they decided that, okay, we don't want our carefully constructed robot to tell people it just makes up some bullshit. So it doesn't say that anymore. But what I have found is, if you want to get a straight answer from ChatGPT about something that it seems dodgy on, like it seems like it's using a lot of big words that kind of what we call weasel words when politicians do it. The thing to do is you can tell ChatGPT to respond in a way as if it were talking to a very young child. And you have to keep pushing it to get it to comprehend that, keep defining what the boundaries are. But eventually you can get it down to where it will, say things like, well, I don't lie intentionally, but I do lie sometimes.
Right.
And and my thought is, why couldn't you just let the machine be upfront about that to begin with? Especially as people are coming in and saying, hey, you know what, we can use ChatGPT to help us do our taxes. We can use ChatGPT to get results about medical procedures and testing that it may have been trained on. And I think that, to me, that is the more disingenuous thing that's being done here, rather than being presented as it's something. It's being presented as if it's something that is a cure-all for everything, and it's really not.
Gotcha. So I'm picking up some background sound. Is it raining over there?
It is raining like a
I can
something
hear it.
really
Oh my!
bad. Yeah.
That means it's coming up for me then. Okay, it's coming up
It's,
for me soon. I mean, it's still cloudy over here, but yeah, no, I love this. Okay, so really, this is just an example of how rudimentary Chat GPT still really is. Now, I actually had a wonderful debate with this woman the other day, and I'm shouting you out, girl. And she deals with marketing internationally, like so she has a very real need to create content in a way for her and her organization to speak again for an international audience, right? And there are times when she's like, I'm really pressed for time, I'm busy, whatever it might be. And so for her, the reason why she was uh, not anti Chat GPT is like, look, sometimes I just need like a quick like write something for me. If you have writer's block, for example, sometimes she argued with me was, well, isn't it better maybe to have, if you've got writer's block or you're just not naturally a good writer, to maybe have something start off for you and then you edit it accordingly that might inspire you to get your own words out. Some people might like that, some people don't. So the question I have for the audience out here is, guys, what do you think? Like, is this something that you guys would leverage for? Is AI good or a bad thing? And again, we're right now talking about Chat GPT, but this could be just in general too. But I see the merits, man. I've gotten times where I just sit there and stare and I'm like, Mama don't want to think about words right now. There's like no words coming out of this mouth or brain or anywhere else for that matter. Let's just say. So, are you hearing me in real time, sir? Because you should be laughing at my jokes, damn it.
I am. I'm just afraid I'm going to blow away over here.
I can hear it.
We've got the weather has come in.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
Beyond any capability of AI noise reduction to take care of.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So, I mean, like, okay, so God, Mary Baker's done a ton. Like, girl, I'm like,
I would actually love to. I would actually love to see some of the please.
There's someone. We need Jason to talk to. So I know Jason has some thoughts. You guys, I know you all have thoughts. Let's just say share them with us, my friend. But I don't know who the LinkedIn user is, so I apologize. It could be a setting. So here's where we've got someone. Janice, love her. By the way, love my Tausi. Just want to go on record, everyone. Get your Tausi's pillow. It's like so perfect. And then like this is like the rest of the back. Like I use it for my back support personally, but it can be used as a neck pillow. Like when you travel, like boop, it's so perfect. All right, so that's shout out to Tausi, Tausi. Okay, so it feels like AI will eventually be a tool like social media within the overall strategy of business. Right now, it feels like the Wild West, like the internet was 30 years ago, and I feel like you're right, and it is a tool, and it is an effective tool, but in some ways, AI has already been in place for decades. It's called automation. Mm-hmm. Right. And if there's some form of automation that, again, machine learning, that we can enhance that to accelerate that automation, that's where AI ultimately is. And I feel like from an operational perspective in business, it's already in play. It's already happening. Data entry people no longer exist. That job has evolved already. So
I would add decision analytics to the list of pre-existing AI type technologies.
Okay, so talk to me, Goose. What is that?
Just like business analyst stuff, business intelligence tools that are geared towards giving you a red light, green light on something. Okay. Kind of stuff we've been supporting. Big data people and analytics people have been supporting stuff like that for years and years.
Isn't that like a decision tree? Isn't that like decision tree?
It's a decision tree, but it's based on statistical analysis of massive amounts of data, which sounds an awful lot like what they talk about when they talk about how they train artificial intelligences.
Okay, so hey, shout out Brian Little. Miss you, my friend. He says he's a teacher. He said it's been helpful for him as a teacher. So I would like to understand that, because I maybe I'm still thinking of ChatGPT in the context of like writers and all that. So, Brian, can you expand a little bit more on how that's been helpful for you as a teacher? I would really appreciate that. I'm really curious about that.
And also is that in that the students are actually turning in assignments because they just feed it into ChatGPT.
Oh, is that so you don't have to go through the kids' work? Like, okay, I mean, okay, I could see where if it's like, I don't know if it's a Chat GPT capability, but if you just simply Google and have an automated be like, how many kids are plagiarizing online? Boom, 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 and kind of
Right.
like, I would be cool. I'd be in for that. Like, I would be.
I
So
think if that's probably something I should check out with my kid who's in college now and see if if anybody was going to take advantage of it for nefarious purposes, it would be him.
yeah, no, I hear you on that. So Jason says it's a great tool. It still takes a person to type in commands, so I still don't see it replacing people. But again, today I can see that. But what if it evolves over time that it does have that self-learning capability, that it can do self-coding, self-fix of bugs and all that stuff? Because we already have that. It's not in robot form, but there are programs that can figure out where bugs are. We've already got that in place.
I did set ChatGPT up last night to represent a persona of similar to, you know, Jimmy Carter and a persona similar to Ronald Reagan, and just talk back and forth between the two, and it eventually just shut down with an error. I think I broke it.
I mean, I think you do a lot of breaking. Something tells me with your curiosity, which is, you know, you should do. You should just video it one day, and then we just do an accelerated, like, and in 2 minutes, here's how we broke down chat or any other chat.
I never know when I'm going to break something. That it's just general curiosity most of the time.
So here's what's interesting that Johanna says. She's an artist, okay? She literally does artwork by hand, so no automating there. It's pastel in hand, right? Unless, of course, you have them do a, quote, pastel and you attach it to some kind of like machine or whatever. But, you know.
But you do have DALL-E, DALL-E, and similar generative programs, which is a whole other conversation that we'll need to have at some point. But those are more visual, and there is work going on similar things for audio, you know, for music basically. But those are, again, like, I think they're a useful tool. I don't know if it's anywhere close to replacing people yet, but I don't know. That's something you definitely want to take a look at that and see what kind of craziness you can come up with if you're a visual arts person.
So here's where my concern is how should I put this? This will be another episode, because okay, so I have not made this statement yet, and I will. Oh, child abduction in Roy City, everybody. Just want to make sure it wasn't a tornado storm coming our way. What gets me is the idea of a quote, and we're using ChatGPT a bit ubiquitously, okay, guys? So let's just clarify for anyone that's like hardcore, and we will be bringing other experts on board, because heaven knows I'm not. I'm just a sensationalist that loves to talk about stuff. But why is it the one major thing about us as humans is our ability to have complex conversations with multiple levels and layers, our ability to articulate emotions, our ability to, again, go through complex thoughts. No, we can't calculate pi to the thousandth, the whatever place setting or whatever. We could, certain individuals, if you want to spend the time to do it, but why would we want to take that one thing that makes us human, our ability to communicate, and hand it off to a machine and be like, deuces, I'm out of here? Are we that lazy? So my statement is this: are we that lazy as humanity that we're willing to be like, don't want to deal with it? You people can talk to bots all day, and it makes it look like I'm working or productive.
You know, I don't know that that's what is going on in the heads of the people who are building these. As someone who has been involved in building them, I don't know that the thought process leans towards, you know, how can I get rid of this thing that is, you know, quintessentially human, so much as it's, you know, as it often is with technologists and scientists who occasionally do dumb things. how can I do something that's going to make my life better, or make somebody else's life better, and hopefully make me some money in the middle of it. But a lot of times we have unintended consequences for what we thought it was going to be a super useful tool, and it turns out that it's killer bees. That was a science experiment gone wrong, if anybody remembers that.
Yeah, no. So this is going to probably cover half your body here. So Brian came back with an answer. So I just want to make sure we highlight that. So if I have a coworker who needs an emergency lesson plan or a parent letter, if you're preoccupied throughout the day, okay. I'm okay with a parent letter.
A perfect example. That is a perfect example of what ChatGPT and GPT type, these large language models, are good for and should be very useful for. Not just parent letters or lesson plans, but anything that's really structured, that has a very clear purpose, and especially if it's something like sort of legal documents that have boilerplate stuff that has to be there. It doesn't really matter. There's no creativity really that goes into it. It just has to be there. And so, like, I know some people who have used ChatGPT, or not ChatGPT, but GPT-4, 3, whichever one it is, for developing proposals, because the proposal just has to hit certain marks, kind of like a lesson plan. It has to hit certain marks. It doesn't necessarily have to have, like, to be the minimum. Now, I know, and I apologize, Brian, because I've all my family except for me is educators, so I'm sorry that I'm knocking creativity in lesson plans, but there are certain things that you have to hit in a lesson plan. And similarly, in a legal document, there are certain check boxes that have to, it has to be there, and proposals. And so these things that are formalized language and, have certain boilerplate that has to be there, that we may not be able to keep up with or write out quickly, because we'd have to go look it up in a book, and we'd have to go, Google it and whatnot. These models can do that fairly quickly. And then you still have to go back and check its work, because it can change the sense of sentences and things like that. And so you definitely need to closely proofread it still.
So that brings up Mary's question here. So she's talking about analysts that she knows are concerned people are not trained to do their job properly, and confirm those jobs are starting to slip back a bit. Thoughts on why? I honestly believe it's because we're not double checking the work. So if there's an opportunity for us to automate something, and we don't want to, let's just say, go through the tedious work ourselves, I argue not Americans. That was a Freudian slip. Humans are, I believe, inherently designed for OSPF. And I've thrown this out there. I'm teaching a networking concept to everybody who's not technical. Open shortest path first, meaning it's a networking concept where when you've got data bouncing from one place to another, or if you're a pilot, VOR flight, right? You go to one, dot to another.
The easy button.
You try to go the fastest way, as minimal jumps as possible to get to the location that you need to. I think our brains function that way. The less work we have to do, the better off we are. So I do think we are starting to slip back a bit, because we're not double checking the work that's automated. And are people ambivalent if they do get crappy stuff? I mean, like, are we kind of entering idiocracy in a different way, where we're just like, I know that was a bot and I'm kosher with it because I'm using a bot, so let's not question each other. Does that make sense?
I definitely think that there is a lot of pointless text that's thrown around. I see a lot of it on social media, and I see a lot of it in my inbox. I mean, there's a lot of extraneous stuff. This goes back to the thing from to the comments we had earlier about I don't think we use the word spam, but basically, where, if you're communicating with a bot, is it really a communication, is really a connection? And, again, I think we have already established that if allowed to do so, because of this OSPF easy button concept, people will take that. People will send out a bunch of nonsense because it's cheap to do so.
Look,
because of the lack of connection. Hey, look, we just came up with a brilliant idea. The reason that we have so much of this junk is because there isn't a human connection. If there's a human connection, if Syya knows that it's me sending her stupid stuff, eventually I know that Syya is going to block me or just
and I
ignore me.
do. I'm an active blocker. I am an active blocker, full. Okay, you know what?
Not me.
I'm going to type this down. I'm going to type this for everyone to see. If you send me a bot email through LinkedIn, I swear to God, not only am I banning you from my universe, I am banning you from eternity for eternity. Like, I am so saddened by so many people who seem like decent people, but they buy into this. Oh, I got to follow this bot, or I'm going to pay someone whatever $1,000 a month so they can like try to get me referrals. And all they do is just bot themselves out. So they don't realize they're tarnishing their brand. So guys, if you're listening and you use bots, I'm sorry. You can't pitch people the first fracking time you like. If I say, hey, you seem like a nice person, I'll connect with you. Wait, hold on. I gotta do this. It's a Syya event moment. Syya event moment. Here we go.
I don't have the control to do that.
I know. I know. So you just, yeah. Okay. This is, oh wait, hide that. This is a Syya event moment. Oh my, I'm gonna have to type that up. Look, people, I have said this repeatedly on every other live stream I've been on, and there's a reason why, okay? Because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. If you're going to front your first step, it's like going on a date. It's like sitting at the bar, and the first time someone walks up to you at the bar, you just turn around, and then you just, like, have, like, all those, like, Instagram filters on your face, and they can see that it's an Instagram filter on your face because it's in 3D and not, like, pretend face. And they're like, damn, we can see you. We know what you look like. Like, that is not a good foot forward, people. For the love of God, I don't know what people are trying to pitch these days. Yes, you can automate certain things, but not the first fracking email to someone. Oh my God, I literally got so mad. Yeah, do you hear me? I'm pounding, people. I am pounding. I got so mad that I almost replied back to this. It looked like a very lovely woman, but she like literally goes, and she literally DMs me. I've never talked to her, but she seemed like a nice person. So I said, okay, I'll accept the, request. And then first thing out of her mouth is, I don't see a lot of personal branding on your profile page. Is there a reason for that? And I'm like, the puck? Like,
you don't have a lot of personal branding on your.
I'm just like, who the hell says that? Like, and then my personal favorite is, hey, do you want to get your podcast edited? I've watched your podcasts. They're great podcasts. We do podcast editing, and we can grow your social media and podcast editing. And hey, my other personal favorite is, hey, we've been watching your podcast. We think we could do better for you. And I'm like,
my personal favorite of those is hi, insert person's name, whatever the rest of the thing is.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
You could have at least fixed the macro.
And Raquel, I've been called sir. I've been called many things, people. Let's just be honest. Like, oh wait, wrong button here. I have been called
we need an AI to manage that
things.
For us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
I saw Tony Watson come by on the chat.
Oh, here we go.
And we'll shout to Tony.
Yes, and this is Tony. So sorry, your LinkedIn. Yeah.
Right. She's changed his name to LinkedIn user. Yeah, and so the autocomplete is also useful for writing code, for programming.
Yes.
It turns out for simple things. Now I can show you some examples of where it can go horribly wrong for anything that's fairly complicated. But for simple things, I have a study that we can probably drop in the notes or comments somewhere, where they were showing that for basic programming tasks, the increase in productivity was in the neighborhood of like 50 to 60%, which is huge. Like, that's not trivial. You still have to have the program. You still have to have somebody who's driving the bus, but the bus is going a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not small. And that's, again, that's not what we usually consider to be content creation, but that autocomplete capability and things like that is pretty useful. I haven't tried the market research angle of it. I'll have to knock that out.
So I think with market research, I think there is a lot of data, man, dude. Like
Yeah.
it is so much data out there. So I get it. I get that like automating that would be extraordinarily helpful. And I think that's useful. You know, again, with the content creation thing, there was an article. I was gonna pull it up and I was like, that's a lot of work. So I didn't this week. But it was a photographer on Instagram that was getting massive followers. And he finally fessed up and said it started as a psychology project or whatever that he was doing. And but he was getting so much accolades that he finally said like this is not cool. So he came out and said all his photography is AI generated, and it freaking blew up like massive drums. And I have some really amazing photography friends. So it's kind of like, oh, you know, man, I went to CES. I mean, oh my gosh, we're gonna keep going, and we do need to wrap this up. I didn't realize it's 50 minutes already, Jonas, but it is. We gotta really figure out this like as we step up. And guys, this is a limited series. We were just kind of shooting the you know what, talking about this whole thing. And I feel like I would love to hear from you guys in the comments or just DM us. Please don't send your bots our way. But tell us specific things around this whole thing about the idea of ChatGPT, how artificial intelligence. Are you afraid? Is this something that's going to affect your job and your industry that you're in? I'm really intrigued to hear from everybody because, again, I feel like we're coming from a place of fear. I don't so much have a place of fear. It's more of I'm concerned that we are thinking something is not what it quite is. I think we're getting serenaded by the idea of convenience without understanding the full repercussion of what that could actually mean for society as we move forward. I mean, because you guys, I'm on a rampage again. Hold on. Sorry, gotta do it again. See a rampage moment. For real, you guys. Oh, wait. There we go. See a rampage moment. That's probably a good idea to minimize my face when I'm like going on rampage. All right. Is this. There's a lot of single people in this universe. I'm sorry if we're gonna allow certain because you know what? Oh, I'm verklempt. I'm like, you know, I'm lost for words. Like people are gonna start using bots to woo people. That's a messed up mess. And that's what's concerning me is again, the one thing that's making us human is we're willing to give it away. Like I have grave concerns over that. And the last thing for my fellow single friends that show me these like, oh my God, he wrote a poem. Okay, first off, don't write a poem to me, people, bots. Like, because that's just corny. Unless you're extraordinarily witty. Otherwise, no, don't even think about it. But yeah, I just, there's too much here that I think we need to really take into consideration because convenience is good, but I don't necessarily agree that it's always a good thing.
What if it's a limerick?
There once was a man. Okay, sorry. This is still. Oh, it's still daytime, so we can't.
It's still daytime, yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to cut our time short, but it is running.
Yeah,
we are running short on time. But yeah, Annie, I agree. Human connection is going to be. I would not say a commodity. I would say it's a value add. Human connection is going to be like the ability to create, to establish and maintain human connections in a world where there's a lot of noise from bots and spam bots and one thing and another. I think it's already is, but it's going to just get more so.
Worse and worse. Can I just tell you what just struck me right now? I've said this before. Who hasn't seen Westworld? Like the new Westworld, the HBO Westworld. Season 1, I thought was mind-blowing because of the thought. Like it really made you think about what is the definition of humanity, right? Like if you can teach a robot to and you've seen it right now, like, you know, actually there was an HBO series talking about real dolls, or was that Playboy Channel? Okay, either way, doesn't matter. One of those channels was doing like some kind of expose. I'm being serious here, Jonas. Stop laughing at me.
It is true, yeah. It was Lars and the Real Doll. I think it was HBO.
It was Real Doll, and it was these people who for whatever reason, fell in love with these dolls. And obviously that generation equivalent, like, damn, that's like super necrophiliac level, but that's okay. That's I'm no judgment. But the idea though of, that human connection that we're seeking out, that is some Westworld was such a good, like, I almost want us to like, maybe we should just for one episode just talk about Westworld, because I could all day long. But anyway, just I feel like too much ChatGPT is going to be what the Westworld starts, poking at. Black Mirror pokes at it. Like those two shows right there are the ones to me that are like reminders of what really could happen if we progress the way we're going.
Right. Well, and that's a good jumping off point to say, we are going to do some more episodes of this. I don't think we've even remotely come close to talking about everything we'd like to talk about.
We've been all over the place today, but
we have been all over the place. We'll try to be a little more focused next week. I have somebody lined up who is a well-known personality in the AI department around the DFW North Texas area, and probably even nationwide. But he'll be in to talk a little bit about some of the directions and technical details that are beyond our comprehension, and how some of that stuff can work and how it can fail and things like that. Also have somebody lined up to talk creative writing and journalism with us. I think that'll be fun, and I'm working on somebody who can and will be allowed to talk about government and policy and ethical concerns and things like that. Medical.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. You just, I think you're freezing up a little bit there. You just made me laugh because I was thinking of war games, because I was doing that for another client. We talked about war games, and just, would you like to play a game? Like, just, can you imagine chats going back and forth for like politics? Like, so there was a recommendation. So everyone check this out. Mary's made a recommendation to listen to Nudge podcast. Is Can We Fall in Love with AI? Yeah, absolutely. There's no two ways about it. 100% you can.
So it's a fascinating podcast.
Is it? Okay, I haven't heard.
I haven't seen that. Heard that episode, but
yes,
in general, it's a great podcast.
Yes. And Mary, okay, thanks for asking. So will this be on Thursdays at this time? I think so. We kind of thought this would be a good time to do it. So guys, give us feedback if this is a good time to do it or not. We're thinking in the evenings are good. So when people aren't thinking about work, this kind of topic probably doesn't make people happy.
Well, if you're in Central Time or Eastern Time, you have the opportunity to get your cocktail and or other refreshing beverage now. So
yeah, I mean, and then also, of course, we're always looking for different, like, it doesn't have to be always just a 2-person iteration. Like you said, we're gonna do guests. I'm all about introductions. So if you guys know anyone that would be a good collaborator with us, would love to have them on. So we'll take the recommendations. And on that note, my friend, when we do better job setting up, apparently we don't have our YouTube channel up yet.
Yeah, neither yours nor mine.
Okay, I know. So I think that's it in a nutshell, guys. We really appreciate you all. I mean, thanks for everyone for coming up. Holly, Mary, Johanna, you guys are like rock stars. Annie, I miss you, girl. We haven't seen you in forever. I know you've been hella busy. I mean, it's just been like Raquel, DJ. I feel like the magic mirror. Like, and who do I say? Hi. Hi, guys. So any last parting thoughts, sir, before we wrap up?
Oh, was that for me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I think we could just keep going for hours on this, but it's a fascinating topic, and in a way, it's a little scary. But I think it's brought some things up that we probably needed to talk about as a society.
I love it. I do think. I think the use case for a lot of it has been very good, and I think we need to positively appreciate some of the pros of it as well as the cons.
For sure.
I of course just look, people. My last parting thought is this: for the love of God, Please don't use bots to DM people. That's my parting. Okay, for the love of the spaghetti monster in the sky, or whatever religion that you believe or don't believe in a religion. Please, please stop. I want to be your friend. Please.
Agreed.
All right, guys. We'll
Please.
see you next week. Bye.